guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and today we're here to review the new movie Air. Directed by Ben Affleck and starring Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah.
So this is like their reunion from, I don't think they've been in anything together. Maybe the Kevin Smith movies, as they kind of started together there. But
Gotcha.
Since Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, or at least anything significant anyway. So
yeah, and I just want to add real quick, too, if you did not know, you can watch Air on Prime Video now.
Prime Video,
for free.
We weren't sure if we were going to have to pay for it, and they were like, oh, it's free.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And this is an Amazon movie.
Yeah.
Which I did not know.
What do they call it? A Prime Studio? Or
like a Prime Studios production
yeah,
or whatever,
like
which they've definitely done movies in the past before. I didn't know that they were involved in this one. It was in the theaters and everything. So
yeah.
But look, before we get into talking about this movie and giving our thoughts, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about movies, we talk about TV shows, we talk about entertainment stuff on this channel. So if you like that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button. And then
like the video.
Like the video, like she said. And then leave us a comment down below. Did you watch Air on Prime? In the past few days, are you going to watch it based on our recommendation? What are your thoughts? Leave them down below in the comments section.
Yeah. Also, though, did you see where they were doing a buy one get one free ticket if you went to the theater to see it?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, it was like a Mother's Day thing that they were doing.
Just for the movie Air?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought.
I guess they think it's a Mother's. This strikes me as more of a Father's Day movie than a Mother's Day movie.
Well, no, not if you think about his mom.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So,
yep. When you're right, you're right. You were right with that.
I'm right all the time. Let's
You're
be
right
honest.
with that. So yeah, Air. Let's get into initial thoughts. What was your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
one?
So I was actually pretty intrigued when I first heard about this movie. I did want to make it to the theater to see it, but we didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't make it to the theater. So I was really excited when I saw how quickly it came to streaming. And so I really enjoyed this movie. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I did as well. It's we don't get a lot of these movies, it feels like, anymore, just like more mainstream movies that are just like straight dramas, like biopic kind of movies about real life situations. I feel like we used to get them all the time, like in the 90s, but this just kind of felt like one of those like good feel-good dramas that you would get in the 90s.
Right.
That's based on a true story. And yeah, I dug it. And it's got a great cast in it as well.
Yeah, I tend to gravitate towards these kind of movies.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays they just like to make a lot of weird stuff. I mean, weird stuff's always been around, but again, I do like those just more simple, but still has a lot of heart to it.
Just traditional.
Yeah. It's just nice to get those to where, you don't have to apply yourself too much to it. Yeah. It's just easy to enjoy for me.
Simple movies, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but sometimes it's just like, you know what? That was just a really good movie. Yeah. It just feels good to watch those kind of movies.
I don't know, like Forrest Gump or...
Yeah. Now, I've been saying that forever. I was like, I'm just longing for the days of those mainstream drama movies that weren't superhero movies, weren't horror movies or whatever.
Right.
That would go on to win Oscars and stuff.
Yeah. And then going off of what you said too, I mean, this is a fantastic cast. There are all kinds of people in it. Do you want to, name some people?
I mean, we got Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, like I said, but we also got Jason Bateman in this movie.
Yeah, he's a favorite.
Jason Bateman's great in everything he's in. And Jason Bateman's he's the type of actor, he can do comedy, he can do drama. It just feels like he can do everything. Viola Davis is in this, who's just a great actress across the board. Like, she's always great in everything, and I thought she was great in this as well. Chris Tucker was in this movie, and I haven't seen Chris Tucker in a movie in a while.
Right.
But even though his character, it didn't feel like traditional Chris Tucker to me. It felt almost like he was doing, and maybe this is how the real life guy was, but it felt like he was doing an impersonation of Bill Cosby or something in
Gotcha.
This. But I love Chris Tucker, Rush Hour and, Money Talks and some of the movies he did back in the 90s. Were great. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent of it. I mean, it's a good cast. You'll see some people that you recognize pop up throughout the movie for sure. But just getting into what this movie's about. So you're basically following the history of shoe salesman Sonny Vaccaro. and how he led Nike in its pursuit of the greatest athlete in the history of basketball, Michael Jordan.
Growing up in the 90s and stuff, I thought it was really interesting to just get this story because I never knew it. And I mean, growing up, I didn't necessarily wear Air Jordans or anything, but I mean, I wore Nikes. Yeah. And so I just thought
those
that it
were
was
a thing.
interesting.
You remember all the kids, I got a new pair of Jordans, and that is just, it's always been a thing. And it's like, we grew up in the 90s. Obviously, we knew Michael Jordan as this, like, larger than life, like, icon.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't watch basketball, I didn't really watch basketball when I was a kid.
You knew who he was.
Like, you knew who Michael Jordan was, and then, you know, Space Jam and all that stuff. So, it was interesting to go back and see it from this perspective and know that he was a big deal, like, in 84.
Right.
Like, when he was in college, like, he was a big deal. And people had the foresight to, you know, build this shoe brand around him and know that was, or this guy, the one guy, Sonny, played by Matt Damon, knew that was going to lead their company to the promised land because Nike was struggling at this point.
I enjoyed, you know, how it takes you back to that time, you know. Yeah. And I don't think that you necessarily loved it, but this movie has a killer soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack. What do you mean I didn't love it? I love all the songs in this movie I loved. They were all very mainstream.
I know, you always seem to have a problem with that.
I did not when it comes to like 80s and 90s because I just eat all that music up.
Like they picked the most like iconic bangers for sure. Like
they definitely spent some money like on the on the music for this.
Loved them for sure. Enjoyed that so much.
It was like well, I'll say this. It was good. It fit like the movie, but it did get to the point where it might have been a little distracting, just the amount that they were playing. It was like every 5 minutes, it was like one of the greatest songs of all time.
Yeah.
Starts playing.
I enjoyed it. I thought that it was great. And then, so something that I want to kind of talk about is how they chose to tell this story as far as, you know, Michael Jordan being in it. So the way that
make no mistake, this is not a biopic on Michael Jordan. This is a biopic on Nike, the company, and in particular Sonny.
Right. And I mean, I knew that going in, and I had heard some stuff about how they don't really ever show Michael Jordan. Like he's in it, but they never show his face. And so I thought that was really interesting.
They show the side of his face and things
and
like that.
They're definitely kind of going into a negative, I guess. Maybe my only negative, honestly, is, you know, I didn't mind that they didn't show his face, but sometimes it just didn't work for me. It came across a little silly.
It did.
And it kind of made like the way that they portrayed him, it kind of made him look like he was kind of a jerk or like rude or... Yeah. And I mean, maybe that is how he was. I don't know. But
he was somebody that definitely, he had a lot of confidence and he knew how talented he was. So I'm sure that could have came off as arrogant to some people. But
right. And I think a lot of that arrogance or confidence, I guess you would say, came from his mother. Like his mother knew his worth. You know, obviously all of us mamas out there think that our kids are amazing and the best that there is. But she knew his worth, and I believe that she taught him what his worth was. And so kind of going into that's, you know, who Viola Davis played. Yeah. You know, it was more focused on her. She was doing like the conversations with, you know, Nike and kind of the persuading and
which I thought, you know, I think that Matt Damon is the obvious standout in this movie.
He was fantastic.
You know, and I mean, he's the lead. He gets all the big showy moments. But I think that Viola Davis is like almost right up there with him. I thought her performance was pretty great in this. I wouldn't be surprised if she got nominated for like an Oscar. Like even though that's like 8 months away, like I could see her popping up in the conversation for supporting actress or something.
And I mean, honestly, I feel like everybody was great. Like, you know, even like Ben Affleck, like he kind of played this kind of silly CEO of Nike. He was kind of like he reminded me of like a hippie or something. He apparently, the guy that he was actually playing in real life, you know, he liked to be barefoot. And he did like, you know, grounding techniques, and he had this like sports car, and he was a runner. You know, he would like meditate when he was running or something. So
and you could tell that him and Matt Damon had this relationship like going way back, and how Matt Damon kept trying to get him to go back to the old ways of how they used to run Nike.
Right.
And Ben Affleck was more corporate. like in this
right,
movie.
he wasn't really wanting to take any risk. You know, obviously this was going to be a big investment, and you know he was scared to do it, but he believed in Matt Damon, his character Sonny, and I don't know, it was just one of those really good feel-good movies, and I just eat that shit up. I love it.
I did too, and I think going back to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they just been working together for so long, and they're real life like best friends.
They're friends in real life.
That I think that chemistry just shines through in this movie,
for sure.
And it's impossible for them to mess something like that up. So it was a given that they were going to have good chemistry together in this movie. So but that's going back to what you said. My only like real negative is the Michael Jordan stuff. That was very kind of distracting. It's not that I wanted them to show his face, right? But it's just the way that they did like certain turns and camera movements. It was like almost too on purpose. So I wish they would have made it a little bit more accidental the way that they showed him. So
right. So you want to just get into our score?
Get into the score.
Okay, so I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5.
Oh, that is a very high score. So
I enjoyed it.
I already rated this on Letterboxd. I gave it a 4.
Okay.
I gave it a 4. Right. Just a good, solid movie. Nothing wrong with the 4. It's just a good movie. I would highly recommend checking this out on Amazon Prime. So that is our review of Air. Leave us a comment down below if you liked it, didn't like it, if you watched it. If you're gonna watch it, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Turn on the bell notifications for all future videos and reviews and live streams and all that stuff. And follow us on our social media account down below. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.